What's going on, y'all? It's your man, June Archer here, the Winner Circle, Motivate You. This is 50.com. My guest today, actor extraordinaire. He is now playing Nigel on the remake of The First Wives Club on BT Plus. Please give it up for Mikhail Keys, ladies and gentlemen. Mikhail, what's going on, boy?
Hey man, everything's good, man. Life's good, and I'm blessed, and you know what I'm saying. Just keeping the faith, keeping it strong. You know what I mean?
And we're here. You're living your dream, man. I want to talk about your humble beginnings, Bronx, New York. How did you become inspired to act? I know you went to school for communications, mass media, but how did you get bit, or where did you get bit by the acting bug growing up in the Bronx, New York?
Definitely, I would definitely have to say, man, I got bit by the bug when I was like, it was high school. It was almost close to the ending of high school. Literally, I was finishing on my senior year. I had all my cores selected, and I had one elective to spare. And one of my good friends, Brandon Preston, he had recommended and actually suggested that I should make the last elective drama. And at
Mm.
that moment, I'm like, drama. I'm like, I don't really see myself doing drama work. He was just like, nah, man, it's definitely a fun class and you definitely get to express yourself. And I was like, you know what? Let me try it. And my first play, it was a Legend of Robin Hood, sort of. It's kind of ironic because my friend who suggested it, he ended up playing Robin and I played Little John. And literally the feedback and the vibe that I received from the crowd from that performance, I'm talking, it was sold out. Like, and literally at that moment when I was on the stage, just, you know what I'm saying, not even just reciting the lines, but actually being the character. Like the joy that came with that feeling, like words can't really
Unlike
describe it.
anything, the
Yeah, it's
rush
just
had to
like,
be amazing.
yeah, it was absolutely like words just could not describe it. I just felt at peace. And immediately at that same moment, I was like, you know what? I was like, I feel like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. But, life took its course. I ended up, going to college, you know what I'm saying, majored communication. My emphasis, I was doing news reporting. I was a news reporter and, you know what I'm saying, I just didn't feel fulfilled. But, I still did that for 4 years, graduated with my degree, and, pursued the real world. But then that's when I told myself, like, hey, that feeling that I experienced back on that stage, I still want that. And immediately I decided to, like, invest in like chasing a dream. And I came across it was Dustin Felder's studio, acting studio in Buckhead, Georgia, but now it's changed to LS Studios. And there I met my acting coach, Louis Standstill. And I remember at the same time, like the first session I had with him, it was like an open house event. And literally he told me, he was just like, I see a lot of stars in the room, but only a select few could actually go on that journey. But your work
Mm.
ethic is what's going to speak volumes. So, everything is left to you. So at that moment, I told him, I was in his office and I was just like, I heard you speaking and you said, to just give you a year, but I don't want a year to learn how to act. Like I can do that in less. Like give me 6 months or less. My coach thought I was kind of jumping aboard, but literally I was so determined and so hungry. Like, and at that moment, like that's all I wanted. And literally within the first 2 months, just by training and learning the industry, I got signed to my first agency. And shortly
Mm.
after that, boom, pandemic. Now at this moment, I felt like my faith was low. I felt like, my dreams weren't going to become reality because, coronavirus just took over, shut down everything. So I didn't know if Hollywood is going to open back up again. So we got to that point when I was just like, I started looking in alternate routes just in case if this wasn't to work. But literally, I always remembered, my mom used to say, what I'm saying, in your prayers, you always be specific when you're praying, especially to God himself. And at the end of the day, like, he has your best interest at heart. And
Yeah.
she's like, all you got to do, focus on him. And I bet money that literally he's going to align that path. And, at first I thought she was just, just giving me some mama
Right.
wisdom and
Doing the
stuff.
mom thing, as she should, as she should.
It's
We're supposed to encourage our young people and encourage our children.
definitely. And at that moment, I was just like, she's telling me this, let me just try, what I'm saying? And literally during the pandemic, like when I started to seek God himself, like I felt like I started to know myself more. And eventually it's just like the peace of mind came back, and the hunger, the ambition, everything that I wanted to do, it came back, and that light just ignited again. And from that point on, literally out of nowhere, I just got a random hit up off of Instagram. Somebody just asked me if I wanted to be in a music video. And I'm like, a music video? I'm not no video vixen or nothing like that. But like, I was like, shoot, let's, I'll check it out. And when I got there, I was in a music video with Kiki Palmer. And then literally, yeah, shortly after that, the next music opportunities I got, it was Kiki Palmer. Then after Kiki Palmer was Flo Milli. Then after Flo Milli was Anaya Miss. And from that point on, commercials came my way, shows came my way. And it's like doors started opening at such a fast pace. And literally I was just like, whoa, like I'm here. And then boom, I got the breakdown one day for First Wives Club. And literally what most people don't really know about me, like I'm I really believe in manifesting your blessings always. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's the secret to life itself. Like, there's so much power that people possess, but they don't really know how to tap into the source to actually speak it to an existence. And literally, back probably like 5, 6 years ago, I had a vision book. And on that vision book, literally, is like, just my aspirations, my roles that I wanted to pursue if doors opened up. And I remember I wrote down, like, I wanted to be like a love interest, I wanted to be the leading man. And I wrote everything Nick for Knack, something that can tie into my personality, my essence, you know what I'm saying? Even a little sprinkle of my ethnicity. And then automatically, boom, when I saw that breakdown when I got from my agent, I was like, hold on, this role looks kind of familiar. And I opened up my vision book and I realized that I had wrote specifics. And it's just like, unlike a checklist from 1 to 10, literally this role had about like 9. So I was like, whoa. I was like, okay now. And immediately I understood the assignment. It's like this role came, and you know what I'm saying, I broke down, came up with my whole backstory for my character. And the work to prepare was real easy in a sense, because I was always a fan of, Jamaican culture. My heritage is Jamaican heritage as well. So I was always familiar with the culture. So seeing and being able to portray that, I was just like, wow. And I listened to some music. After that, I watched a couple films, and I filmed the audition. Literally, in like 5 days later, I got a call from the director, and was just like, I seen your tape, and he asked, where I'm from, and I was like, I'm from Bronx, New York. He was just like, so were you born in the islands? I was like, nah, but I'm of Jamaican heritage. Literally, he was like, all right. And literally, like a next call, like 2, 3 minutes later, I was booked for the role. No callback, no nothing. It was automatic. So definitely, that's really how to just like the startup, just to give you a little, insight. But like that's exactly how everything went.
No, and I love it, man. And it sounds like your mom is definitely the encourager. And as we put in that piece of you being a part of the diaspora of West Indian culture, I know it very well. That's me. I grew up in it. That's my culture. Do you find, because listen, we're born Jamaicans. That's what we are, right?
Yeah.
Uh, for you, was there a piece of encouragement that you got from your mom? And this is, I want you to think about this now, because some people get this, some people won't.
Yeah.
But this is what I love about having different cultural ethnicities and flavors.
Hmm.
Is there something that she would tell you in Jamaican patois that you've heard for years growing up, and as you've gotten older, now that you're in your career, you hear these things in your head. You hear your mother's voice in your head. And you're like, "Yo, wow!" So that's what she meant, right? Like, wow. This
Man.
I'm saying what my mom would say, right? Because my mom would be like, "Dog, yam your supper," and I'm like, "What is that?" Like, we don't even have a dog. Like, I don't understand why a dog would eat my supper. Like, what? I
I
don't.
know,
I mean,
right?
and as you get older and you start to experience different people in different situations, you're like, yo, that saying is mad true. Like, that's crazy. Is there something that your mom has said that you could share with us that was like a key, was like a gem, patois? Like she broke it down. You're like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But now, as you matured, you're like, wow, like Mom's was right on that one.
Well, one thing I always remember, she used to say, when you can't listen, you must feel. Like, and I'm like, what do you mean if I can't listen, I must feel? Like,
That's
and
classic though, Mikhail. That's
yeah,
classic. Who can't hear must feel, right?
exactly.
It's classic.
Who can't
Like,
hear must feel. Just yeah.
like, what does that
Like
mean? What is that?
literally to me, I'm like, what you talking about? But literally over time, the older I got, older is just like really like when like some of those elders come to you and they give you like an encouraging word, or they tell you like show me your friends and I'll let you know who you are, stuff like that. Literally over time I started to realize when I would receive any form of message or anybody would try to warn me about something, I would think they're just they just don't want me to be a part, or they don't want me to have fun or whatever. But literally, like I remember one case, like my mom, it was high school, and it was like the first party of the year, and I was just like, yo, I gotta go, I gotta see that shorty that I was trying to holler, a whole bunch of stuff. And literally my mom was just like, don't leave the house. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what you mean don't leave the house? I'm like, Mom, I gotta be there. She was like, um just don't leave the house. And I was just like, okay, clearly my mom's tripping. And I went up to my room, and shortly, like 30 minutes later, I realized my mom fell asleep. So I'm like, all right, she fell asleep. So it's my time to dip out. I'll come back in like 2, 3 hours, ain't no
She ain't
biggie.
gonna know. She won't
Ain't
know.
gonna know, yo. I left the house, drove probably 10 minutes down the road, boom, I got in a car accident. And it wasn't even my problem. Now, at that moment, I'm still here. Luckily, I'm blessed to still be alive from that accident. But the thing is, it was 10 minutes after I left the house. And ain't no telling why my mom told me not to leave. But literally, I did not listen. And what ended up happening, I had to feel. And then the thing is, I had to feel an accident. I could have lost my life just by not listening to what my mom said. And there's other situations all the time, but it just goes to show you, like, sometimes, you gotta listen. Because if you don't listen, you're gonna experience some things that you don't want to experience in life. And nobody ever want to be in a position like that. So
Right. And,
that's
and and through her experience, what I've learned is, especially having, you know, a matriarchal system that's really tough, right? It's
yeah.
a vibes, right? It's a vibes. It's a spirit thing that
Mm,
you don't know because you can't tap into it. That they're like, no, Mikhail, you stay home, right? And I would get that same vigor to be like, no, but you don't want me to go out, have no fun with my people. Like, I want to
mm,
go break down. I want to go rap. I want to do. And they're like, yo, it's haunted. You're haunted. Sit
ex-
down, right? And you're like, what does that mean? What does that mean? All right. But
yeah.
it's that thing right in you that you like, you got to get out. You got to,
Uh,
everybody else is doing it and not realizing. I had this conversation with Michael Rainey Jr., who is of the diaspora as well. And I
yeah.
said to him, did you, not just the code switching piece of being black with white people, but also being Jamaican with black people? There was a lot of code kind of trying to fit in the circles. And you like, because I'll go to a grocery store now,
Mhm.
okay, and I see like a Jamaican nanny talking, and she's cussing under her breath and RCs and PCs and all. And I'm
Yeah.
sitting there laughing like, yo, this dude has no idea. She is tracing him and cussing him all
Hmm.
kinds of up
All
and down.
types.
And I'm laughing. I understand, I know it, and I kind of give it a head nod like, well, right. But
Yeah.
sometimes it's just a vibe thing, man.
Mhm.
What is the best piece of advice you got from your mom or anybody else along this journey to kind of help you continue to pursue your dream? Because we know that anything in the creative arts is it's not always easy, man, and it takes
Mhm.
time. And you have roadblocks and speed bumps, like you said.
Definitely.
You're ready to get on, and then here comes the pandemic. Boom,
Uh,
roadblock, turbulence.
man.
Through those times of turbulence, what gems have you remembered that people share with you to let you get through? Because people are listening, they're watching, and they're going through some things right now, right? Whether it's
Yeah.
COVID related things, death, losing people, can't pay their rent, pay their
Mhm.
bills. Give them some light at the end of the tunnel, something that you learned that can help them out today?
Definitely, one thing I learned is what's for you is for you, and nobody can take that away from you. You know, every person on this earth was built with a purpose, you know what I'm saying? And it's their duty to fulfill that purpose. Now, it doesn't matter what field you're in, what you're chasing, it's your duty to fulfill that. And there's key steps in just life itself that you cannot skip. There's literally like you have to, just like, you know, when we're like kids, you know what I'm saying? When we're babies, you know, before we walk, we got to crawl. Before we jog, we got to know how to walk. Before we know how to run, we got to know how to jog. It's a process to life. And anytime doors of opportunity come in front of you, always make the most out of it. Don't ever fall victim to what the critics might have to say. Don't ever fall victim to what this person might think. If you don't have support right now, it'll come. You know what I'm saying? Just like how you have the good to the bad of life, you also have the love and the hate. You know what I'm saying? And that's just two things you can never like try to run from. But the thing that you can do to prepare yourself is to make sure that mentally you're aligned. You know what I'm saying? And that's literally, that's mind, body, spirit. The more aligned you are within yourself is the more power you possess. And at the end of the day, it's up to each and every person to figure out their own personal power, because that's what differentiates me from the next person. That's what makes me unique. And ain't nobody can take that away from you.
Man, that's deep, man. I love that. I appreciate you sharing that. That's going to help somebody tremendously on their journey and probably will change their life, man. So I appreciate you even being transparent in that answer. I want to talk about Nigel, man. That is one Jamaican name. Your character
There you
on
go.
First Lives Club. How is it playing Nigel, but also how is it on set? Because there's some heavy hitters there, man. There's some veterans from all walks of life. How does it feel to play Nigel on First Wives Club?
Honestly, the feeling like the feeling to this day, like it's unmatched, like it's untouched, like it's just, you know, like this is my moment. I waited all my life for, and now it's here. Now it's either I could fumble the bag or I could literally up more bags from this. You feel me? And
Mm.
literally the role itself, like it was a blessing. I had so much fun. I learned so much gems, not only from Jill Scott. I was in the room with like Ron Rico Lee, Tracy Oliver, Essence Atkins, Terry Vaughn, like, and the list goes on. Michelle Batul, like so many heavy hitters that been in this industry for such a long period of time. Now, as I told you before, like with me being a new emerging artist into the industry, you know, at first when I got to set, like, you know, most people already try to look up my track record. And, you know, the track record didn't really reflect, you know, the many work experience years as all the other heavy hitters. So in terms,
They
you know what I'm
only
saying?
they're only watching what might be on IMDb, so they do their homework and they see
Mm-hmm.
the
Literally. And it's
body of
just
work is in there. But what about all the blood, sweat, and tears and the human equity that you put into this?
exactly. And most people don't, most people tend to forget that because they only see the glitz and glamour. But the thing about it is, like, you know, people looked up and they didn't really see much, you know, work experience. So they like, oh, you know, how's this gonna go? But you see me, as I told you before, mentally, like I was already ready. Like when I walked in, like I understood the assignment and I knew what I was there for. Now at the end of
Mm.
the day, yeah, you know, to other people, maybe
Mm.
this is just, you know, this
Hold
is
on,
just a regular job.
hold on, Mikhail. Hold on, Mikhail. You said something super important. I can't let you skate past that. You knew the assignment. That's huge.
Yep.
You knew the assignment, right? Here's the thing that I picked up when you told your acting coach, man, listen, I don't even have a year, bro. Like I'm ready to go. It seems like you sleep with your shoes on so you can stay ready, so you never have to get ready. How
Cool.
important, Mikhail? Please, I need you. I really need you to dig deep on this one for people who need to get this. Understanding the assignment, how important is that along the journey? Because sometimes you said it, man. You really nailed it. There's gonna be things that come into play, man. Real life situations, right? Real life things that come that really can shake you and give you the turbulence that you
Yeah.
never saw coming. How important? How do you take care of understanding what the assignment is? Because it's going to be different for everybody, but for you specifically, how do you process that to know, like, I know my assignment. I'm coming in here because I say it like, yo, I'm dope. I
Mhm.
do it for real. I know
Yeah.
my assignment. I know to come here, I got to pull something out of Mikhail that he can inspire people. I know, but your assignment, everyone's assignment is different. What is your process?
My process first, before I can even touch or even look at the assignment, I gotta look at myself first. I gotta
Mm,
understand myself first. Because if I don't understand myself first, how am I supposed to understand the assignment? Like, there's key things, as I was saying, before, like, you have to know how to handle, you have to know how to adjust, how to adapt. In fast, slow pace settings, it doesn't matter what it is. Now, at the end of the day, in order to understand the assignment, you have to be focused. You have to be aligned. You have to make sure that you know crevices and layers of yourself that nobody would probably ever do the extra work into. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like how you got the Mamba mentality. You know what I'm saying? Like, peep, like, you got every hooper. Now you got King James, you got Mello, you got Dame, you got a whole bunch of cats. But when you look at the stats and see who been in the gym the longest,
mm,
that's what's going to differentiate the star from just an average regular player. Now, at the end of the day, LeBron, in order for LeBron to be the greatest, he had to go through how many things, how many countless, conversations, how many times he wanted to knock stats off. He wanted to knock Wilt Chamberlain. He wanted to knock Kobe. He wanted to knock the greats that were pretty much before him. Because at the end of the day, like, me personally, I look at it from the standpoint like, yo, I am a king. And
mm,
everything in this life that I want, I can get it. Now, the only person that can literally hinder me from achieving that goal is myself. Now, when you really tap into yourself and get to understand who you are and what you are meant to do and what's your purpose, when the assignment comes your way, you already understand. You already knew what to do because you already experienced certain things that led to the point. You know what I'm saying? Now
mm,
it's just like life is always gonna have its tolls. There's always gonna be, what I'm saying, when you get on the highway and you drive and you gotta get to point A. Usually most of the time the GPS gives you three routes, right? Now some routes could be the ones where you avoid like the tollways and the highways. You can maybe only take the back routes, or maybe you can do the express route. Most people tend to go to the express route because that's the fastest. But ain't no telling on the other routes what you could have saw that could potentially even helped you to get where you needed to go faster, or even just being able to see a different environment or a different scenery. But first, you have to get yourself out of that comfortable zone,
mm.
because when you're in that comfortable zone,
Wow. Yeah.
literally that's when, trust me, like when you're in that uncomfortable zone, that's when your mind is literally bound. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't feel like I can do this, or you make an excuse like you're not disciplined. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like an alignment in the steps. You got to be in alignment, you got to be disciplined, you got to be focused, you got to know exactly what it is. And when you figure that out, and you figure out all the necessary routes around the block that you could take, trust and believe, ain't no telling who you might encounter that can help push you that extra mile. Ain't no telling who you can reach or impact or influence. And this is when it's just like you got to take yourself out of just being simple minded and realize that there's so much more to life, and there's so much more things to achieve, and there's so much potential within yourself that once you tap into that source and you start to utilize your gifts, the assignment's going to be a piece of cake. And it wouldn't even be technically named like an assignment. It's going to be more like, something slight, something like, how everybody be comfortable with their own little things. You know what I'm saying? It could even be a hobby. It could be whatever you make it to be. But literally, the steps of progression lie solely upon yourself. And once you figure out your necessary steps in order to be the next better version of yourself, trust me, it's just literally like joy on the other side.
That's dope, man. Are you more spiritual or more religious?
I would definitely say I'm a balance. I'm a balance. I'm like in between. Because at the end of the day, as I told you, man, the more you enlighten yourself and the more you get to understand the creator, it's just like the more you get to understand everything else. Like religion and spirituality, literally, they coexist.
Mm,
And most people they don't ever put that extra step to like do their research to
right.
really enlighten themselves. And once you enlighten yourself, that's when you have the true power. You feel me?
Mm,
Yeah.
man, so many gems in here, Mikhail. So many gems in here. Let me ask you this, man. What motivates you?
Hmm. What motivates me? Honestly, what motivates me is when I realize that I can help others get to their goals. Like me personally, like you see how if I could share a gem that can impact somebody else's life or influence them for the better, that's a win for me. Literally, automatic. Now, when I wake up in the morning, I realize I have people that are looking up towards me. I have people who are depending on me, people who are relying on me, not just to be a great person, but to be successful. And knowing that if I was to make it out of the slums, they could make it out too. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, that's really what motivates me. And it's like another thing that motivates me too is like, I don't know if this is like the right thing to say, but like, I had me like a good friend of mine. I was like my close brother. You know, he passed away like 3 years ago, but literally, he saw the potential in me long before I saw the potential in myself. And the thing, he was like, one of those old souls. Dude was only 22, but literally, he was so ahead of his time that literally he always like showed love, peace. He just always wanted to do the right things. And then over time, it's just I just watched him get blessed continuously. And it's not even like he asked for it. But the thing is, he saw potential in me and he told me what to do. And literally his parents watched, his friends group watched, everybody watched when I started, literally started out of nothing. And then literally I persevered through all of my trials. And literally it got to the point where I finally reached to where I wanted to go. But that's not even the end because there's still more work to be done. But the thing is, he told me everybody has a reason to live. Whether if they don't feel like it, whether they don't think like it, there's a reason for everything. There's a reason for the people you encounter. There's a reason why the insects are, doing their jobs. The reason why the bees, and the flowers. You get the gist and where I'm going with this. But everybody has a purpose, and literally he told me and kind of shed a little bit light to like what my purpose was, and that was just to help, to heal, to enlighten. And literally that conversation that he had with me in 2018, it transcended even when he was gone. You know what I'm saying? And literally I hold that dear to me because I know, like, listen, like, you can start from the bottom all the time. You can start from the bottom, but the only person that's going to make it out is you if you put in all the blood, sweat, tears, and the hard work. And then the more you do that, without you even realizing the work that you put in, eventually you will see and understand why you had to experience everything you had to experience. And that's what keeps you going. That's that fuel. Knowing
Mm,
that I went from point A to point C in a matter of what, like a year? Like, and it's just because at that time, like, I adjusted myself. You know what I'm saying? And it's
right,
just I moved with that intent, and that's really what motivates me.
man, man. Another gem, Mikhail. Another gem. Is
And
there is there is there a favorite Jamaican food that your mom cooks that you're like, yo, that's
yeah,
my joy? I know it's probably a ton, but I want to know what is your favorite Jamaican dish to have, and especially if your mom makes it.
yo, ackee and saltfish.
Oh man,
Yo,
look, it
ackee and
don't get no better.
saltfish with
What
the
now?
roast breadfruit.
Oh man, come on, Mikhail, talk about it.
What real thing
Now,
I talk now? Yo, I'm talking. Yo, ackee and saltfish. Yo, I'm talking brown stew, curry goat,
I
jerk
mean,
pork.
I mean,
Yo,
they're all there. I'm vegan. I'm vegan,
oh,
but I still have the ackee without the sawfish. But now,
okay.
are you fried dumpling or are you boiled dumpling? And if you
Oh,
are boiled dumpling, are you flour dumpling or cornmeal dumpling?
uh, I'm gonna definitely let you know.
I
Number
got you.
one,
I
listen, I
got
always
you.
go to the fried dumplings. That's my number one go-to. It just does something to me. You feel me? But if I'm going the boil route, cornmeal dumplings, man. There's something about cornmeal dumplings, man.
All day,
Yeah,
pure
all
food,
day.
pure food. Yo, I
All
love it. I
day.
love it. Mikhail, man, music is a soundtrack to our lives. What song best represents your journey up to this point? Or what artist embodies everything and gives you life in those moments where you're looking for inspiration or motivation?
Man, definitely. When it comes to the artists, I'm definitely gonna have to say Hove, man. Jay-Z. Like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody know if they're not familiar with Jay-Z whole record and just how he started, like get familiar. Cause honestly, man started from the bottom, from the projects. And look where he at now. He a billionaire. A billionaire.
It can happen.
That's
It can
look,
happen.
it can happen. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, Jay-Z understood the assignment
He
before he
understood
even
the
got in the
sign.
classroom. He already did his work. Well, what Jay-Z do? Jay-Z had that meeting. What was it with Warren Buffett for like 1 million or something like that?
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Who's putting that much cash just to learn? And then
That's
that's when it was
that's
like,
commitment. That's commitment to
exactly.
wanting to be greater than you already are. That
Mm-hmm.
says a lot. To me, that says a lot. So,
Jay-Z, bro.
Jay, it
That's
is. What is your favorite? Just because you're a yard man, what is your favorite Bob Marley record?
ah man.
There are a
Yo, I'm
plethora
gonna
of
be honest
records.
with you.
There's a
I'm gonna be
plethora of records,
honest. This
but
his catalog is just
it's
so
crazy.
great. Look, I'll definitely tell you this. My songs that I usually go to,
Or is it an album? Or is it an album? Because
I
with
mean,
Bob, it could be a song or it could be an album based on where you are in your life and the journey. So I know I just threw a curveball at you, but I know that
yo,
you can handle it. So I'm gonna see. I want to
I'm
see
definitely
what
yo,
you
I'm
say.
gonna definitely say my record. It was definitely the remastered Bob Marley and Wailers.
Mm,
Like, you know what I'm saying?
good one. That's a good one.
Classics. His whole catalog that really every Jamaican, even if they're not Jamaican, they could be Asian, Chinese, Korean, Japanese, African, it don't matter. Any culture in the world can sing one of those songs from an album like that. And honestly, like
Right, you're right.
it's
My favorite though is Rastaman Vibration. That's my favorite.
mm,
And then Kaya. Like Kaya is
it's
like
like
a close second. It's like a close second if you had to spice it.
mm-hmm,
Because some of those things ring true. All his music still rings true today. I,
definitely.
I would be excited to know who Bob would go against in verses if he was still alive. It
Ooh,
probably had to be John Lennon because no one else made the music that they
yeah.
made and told the stories
Mm-hmm.
that they told.
It would
So
have
that
to
would
be probably.
that would be crazy,
I'm
crazy.
just saying, Bob Marley, he in the lane of his music transcends for generations.
Yeah, and you know what's
Generations.
funny? There's only two people I know that have done that. Only two people, Bob and Michael Jackson, who
Yeah.
transcended generations
Mm-hmm.
and touched almost every culture. I,
Every.
I can't think of anybody else. Those two automatically jump out. I actually, if you had to put them in there, I would say New Edition. There's something about New Edition
Yeah.
that kind of did the same thing.
Kind of like yeah.
It's
They
kind of the same thing, but
started like a whole different sound and trend because from like what was it? From like New Edition, like it just branched
it
so
branched
many
out.
groups. So I definitely
It's,
see
it's
that.
something dope, man. It's something dope.
Mhm.
Mikhail, where can we find you? How can we follow you? And how can we support First Wives Club? It's on BT, so I know y'all got BT. It comes in your cable package. Don't front. Check my man out. But what you got coming up, man? What can we stay tuned for?
I definitely will. On my social media platforms, it's Mikhail Keys, Mikhail Keize. That's Facebook, Twitter, that's Instagram. Um, Definitely when it comes to First Wives, where you can access that, you can always access it on BT Plus. You can get it, you know what I'm saying, it's a streaming, whether it's app or on computer or TV. Um, if if you don't go to BT Plus route app, you can also go through the Amazon Prime route. And on Amazon Prime, they also offer it in which it will make it an easier access to access BT Plus and Showtime because both of those platforms also share the show as well. And also, I got some more stuff coming up in the oven. I got a couple movies that I can't really speak on at this moment, but I definitely putting, more updates on my social media. Next endeavor that I got coming up, will a release, is gonna be All Queen's Men on BT Plus, airing in September, and that's dealing with Tyler Perry and Christian Keys. Definitely is gonna be a dope, hot summer show. You know what I'm saying? So y'all definitely stay tuned and stay looking for my character, Freedom.
Man, Mikhail, we love you, brother. We enjoy you. We're rooting for you. More
Thank
success
you.
to come.
Thank
Guys, you heard Mikhail. Listen, be intentional when you're praying
you.
about what it is that you want, and be careful what you ask for because you
Yeah.
just might get it. But
Yeah.
understand the assignment along the journey. There's going to be real life situations that come in and try to knock you over. But pay attention to the road signs. You might have a friend who's going to pour into you that sees greatness in you way before you see it in yourself. But
Definitely.
also understand there are people who love you that's going to tell you not to take a step left or not take a step right in certain situations because the bigger piece, like Mikhail said, who can hear must
Yes.
feel.
Feel.
So we appreciate y'all tuning in. That's Mikhail Keys. I'm your man, June Archer. This is the Winner Circle Motivate You here on This Is 50.com. Thank y'all for tuning in. And make sure you tell somebody you love them. And maybe the last time you have the opportunity to do so. Y'all be peace. Thank y'all for tuning in. Peace.